Jillian Michaels versus the body positivity movement. This is surrounded by Jubilee. All right, let's see what they got to say.
That it should be against the law to discriminate against people based on their body size.
Unquestionably.
So why don't we see more fitness and wellness advocates asking for that?
I'm happy to ask for it. I'll ask for it right now. I didn't know that you thought I wasn't for it.
I seen her before in real life, by the way. I seen her before.
When I came home and I said, I want ding dongs in my lunch.
Pause.
You know what my mom bought me? Low-fat ding dongs. Maybe there's more to life than trying to lose weight.
There's definitely more to life than trying to lose weight. I think I'm gonna agree with both sides a lot here. I think like some people are super obsessive over other people losing weight, not even themselves being healthy, but like super obsessive about other people being healthy, not because they actually want them to be healthy, but because they're either disgusted by them or like they just want to feel justified in putting them down. But at the same time, we should want a society that is mostly healthy without compromising free will, because you should be able to eat what you want, do what you want.
You have to like love yourself. You have to invite love into the space.
How?
By looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself, I'm beautiful.
It's not gonna work, kid.
It does
That's
work.
an SNL skit.
Are Americans fat phobic and obsessed with unrealistic beauty standards, or has the body positivity movement normalized unhealthy habits and lifestyles? I'm John Regalado, and today we're gonna have a debate about what it means to be healthy. Jillian, how are you feeling?
Feel good.
Debaters, you ready to come at Jillian with your best argument?
She looks ready.
Hi, I'm Jillian Michaels. I'm a fitness expert and a health advocate, and today I am surrounded by 20 body positivity activists.
She was the coach on Biggest Loser, right? And then Biggest Loser is known for like they lose a lot of weight, but right after the show ends, they gain it all back. So it's kind of like I'm really interested what this dynamic is going to be like, because she definitely doesn't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers, but I'm interested.
All right, my first surrounded claim is that obesity is not healthy, and pretending it is puts lives at risk.
I agree with that.
If you want to be the first debater, get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Edie.
Nice to meet you,
I'm an
Edie.
eating disorder therapist. I'm gonna do my best.
Edie
to
has an
not
eating
use the
disorder.
O
Is
word
an eating
because I
disorder
find
therapist?
it,
What a perfect name.
Pretty offensive. So I'm gonna use fat-bodied as we talk.
Okay.
Do you understand why people find it harmful and triggering?
Overweight and obese is literally just having too much body fat. It has nothing to do with the quality of the person.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Are we going to debate the claim?
Yeah,
Or
I just
are
wanted
we
to.
Gonna,
Yeah, I wanted to clarify though the
are
language.
we going to pretend like I'm a 3 and you're my mommy?
Oh, shoot.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
Okay.
Off the rip. Oh my God.
So the claim that you're saying is that it is inherently unhealthy to live in a fat body.
It's inherently unhealthy to have excess body fat, yes.
Okay. Where are you getting that information from?
Okay.
Okay.
There are dozens of MRT trials.
Body positivity is one thing, like being happy with who you are and comfortable with how you look is important. Even if you're pursuing like fitness goals, you got to be like comfortable with how you look. Like I've never struggled with obesity. I'm not going to act like I understand the extent of that at all, but I love exercising and things like that. And I love like getting stronger and lifting weights, gaining more muscle and just becoming stronger. But for me, it's more of like the pursuit rather than like an end goal. Like there's not a way I envision myself looking. It's just like living a healthy lifestyle. Not even a healthy, I just enjoy exercise. I'm going to be honest. Even if it wasn't healthy, I might still do it. But that process is something I enjoy. If you're obese, you need to enjoy yourself at the current state you are rather than like trying to chase a goal. But at the same time, you can't say that like being obese isn't unhealthy. Like obviously it takes years off of your life.
So having excess body fat, dozens, is causal, not correlated.
No, that's not true. There's no disease that just fat-bodied people get.
I didn't say that. But obesity lends itself to all-cause mortality across the board. Have you heard of something called adiposopathy? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you know it means literally sick fat. And you understand how it works? Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me how it works.
So it's additional layer of fat in the stomach area.
No, that's not what it is. When we eat too much food that has energy that we're not utilizing, the body needs to put that energy somewhere, right? So it puts it in fat cells. So it puts it in initially subcutaneous fat cells, a little bit of visceral fat, which is fat around the organs. And at first you have hyperplasia, which means we're recruiting new little fat cells, which isn't necessarily a bad thing up to a point. Now, the issue is that once you can no longer recruit more fat cells, right, you get hypertrophy. So the fat cells start to expand. And this is exceptionally dangerous because what ends up happening is the blood vessels get outpaced. So the fat cells can't get oxygen and they start screaming, literally. And when they do, they release.
Wait, why are they shaking their head? Why was she shaking her head as if obesity doesn't cause health issues? Like, be happy with your body, but like, you can't say that there's not disease caused from obesity.
Inflammatory proteins, right?
I want to pause.
Oh, no, of course you do want to pause. Okay. Because it's irrefutable. You don't even know what I'm talking about. So,
Jillian, okay, first of all, I don't appreciate the way that you're speaking to me right now. You called me out for just trying to understand the languaging and saying I was talking to like a 3-year-old.
Fair, yeah. That was uncalled for.
You're talking to me very disrespectfully.
I think she's being very defensive already.
And I want to...
You're telling me you understand it, but you don't understand it. You fundamentally didn't describe it accurately.
But what I understand is that...
What's lipotoxicity?
I don't want to talk about... I am not... Okay,
she shouldn't just be bringing up these buzzwords.
I am not a medical doctor, okay? So I'm not going to talk to you about medical diagnosis because that's outside my scope, and I'm fully willing... Hey, I'm fully willing to be wrong. What I am here to talk to you about is the fact that people in fat bodies are irreparably harmed going into the medical system every single day because of the term, the O word.
So that's what you want to litigate?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not the claim, though.
The idea that fat-bodied people are inherently unhealthy is, I believe, incorrect.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong.
There's a robust amount of data.
I'm not wrong.
Okay, so let me finish the thought.
You can't look at...
Then let me finish the thought.
She is arguing like the wrong point though. Jillian here, she's coming from a place of like knowledge, and you know, if you're coming from a place of knowledge, you're going to kind of belittle the other person for not knowing as much as you, and you're gonna not really look at what their claims are. But at the same token, the lady here sitting across from Jillian is not really responding to the actual question. And there are valid points to be made on that side for like body positivity, but she's not making any of those points. And you can't just say that the science doesn't exist for it. So they need a new matchup here.
My thought first, please. Sure. You can't look at a person's body and tell whether or not tell their health status.
So fat is an endocrine organ. When it overgrows, it does wreak havoc in the body. I didn't finish telling you what happens. So when the oxygen can't get to those fat cells, they'll die and they'll rupture. And then the immune system starts dumping macrophages in to try to clean it up.
But do you know what's even more unhealthy is weight cycling. And as we talked about earlier, only except for your people who
claim. If you want to talk about that claim, we can. The claim is...
So then what are you supposed to do, though? So let's say this person is in a fat body and they are inherently unhealthy, right? We're telling they're unhealthy because they're in this fat body. What are they supposed to do?
Will be significantly more prone to all-cause mortality.
For me, intentional weight loss fails 95 to 98% of the time. So what is
why, though? You would probably know this better than me.
Because weight is not an individualistic pursuit. You narrow it down to this idea that it's causal, like that they're just not trying hard enough. But that is...
I didn't say that. It's multifactorial. A lot of people lose weight. The problem, right, is that they put it back on. Are we in agreement?
Wait. What's this fact check here? There's not a strong scientific evidence supporting a universal 95 to 98% failure rate. Research shows many people regain weight over time, but outcomes vary depending on how success is defined. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, because yeah, some people may be trying to get like a 6-pack, but others may just be trying to get into like a generally normal range, like lose 100 pounds, get down to like 250 pounds or something like that, and that would be successful. But I guess you don't have to go like all the way and say like I need to be like the fittest person now, like I need to lose all my excess weight. You can just take baby steps, because it's a spectrum, you know. The more overweight you are, the worse it is for your health. So you can just try to be on the more healthy side of that spectrum as much as possible.
Yes.
Okay, great. What do you think?
Okay, we got to pause there.
God damn it. All right.
I'm sorry.
John, I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah, but you voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
I have lived in a fat body for like as long as I can. And
I've
known
lived in
many
a fat body.
people.
That is interesting. Should you identify separately to the body? She said, I lived in a fat body, as if it's not her body. That is pretty sad in a way, because like you're not able to like identify as yourself, and like your identity is detached from your like physical form. Is that healthy, or is it healthier to like just accept your body? Because that doesn't sound very body positive. You're saying I live in a fat body as if it's not your own. You watching this while you eat McDonald's.
And I don't think any of us, the people that I know, I can only speak to the people that I know, I don't think any of us are pretending that we're okay with it. What I want to say here is I live with autoimmune disorders, I live with chronic illness, and I'm also neurodivergent. And this is, the body positivity movement has made it so that I can tolerate this life. I can find ways to thrive, even
Oh,
still.
thank you for the sub. Hell yeah, thank you. Oh my God, that's my first sub ever.
Doesn't bother me.
That's crazy.
And by
Thank you so
bother,
much.
mean
I appreciate that.
It doesn't hurt to carry my weight. I'm willing to concede with you that carrying around extra weight is harder. It is. But it must be done.
I don't know that I agree with you.
Okay. Tell me more, please.
Well, tell me why you think it must be done.
Because I've worked really hard to not have this.
Yeah.
Like you beat yourself up in the gym or something?
Yeah,
No,
that's the thing is like
fun.
a lot of people would just assume that like people who are overweight aren't trying to be underweight. Like they see that like, okay, you're still overweight, and they just assume that you haven't tried to lose weight. But like it's an ongoing process, and if you're not like constantly on it for a very long period of time, you're going to be stuck in that loop, and it's very difficult to get out of that. So just because like you haven't reached a certain goal from another person's perspective, it doesn't mean that you're not trying.
I'm just trying to understand what you mean.
What I mean is that I grew up with a number of undiagnosed conditions.
Jose, I'll never forget that, by the way. Thank you so much for that sub. For real, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And even I can think back to like middle school, and I couldn't keep up when the PE teacher would make us like run laps. And I'm like, this is physically aching me, and I didn't understand why. And I didn't understand why because I grew up with a single parent, undocumented single parent. We were bound to the medical system that we had access to.
I understand.
I've done what I needed to do, but
what did you try? Tell me.
I've worked out at the gym. I've tried to do Pilates. Even yoga. Okay. Even yoga hurts me.
Okay, so the exercise causes you pain.
The exercise.
So like Jillian is coming from a place of knowledge. Like it's very simple to her. Like if you understand like exercise and you've seen results in the past, and you understand diet and you've seen results in the past, it's very simple for you. You know exactly what you need to do to lose weight. But if you have never been like a very fit person, and you had like a childhood of obesity and grew into an adulthood and never had that feeling of understanding what it's like to be like a fit person, to like eat healthy food and see the results of it, and for your body to actually like process it properly, it's gonna be a lot harder for you to figure that out on your own. That's like the difference between like when a fit person looks at like an overweight person, they're like, how do you not get it? You just eat less. Like it's super simple. It's so much more complicated when you've never had the feedback and the process of seeing results before, and like you just actually don't really understand it. It's not something you just think about. It's something you have to feel. It's a very long process of losing weight that you have to commit to before you ever see any results. That's where the disconnect here, I think, is.
I'm with you.
Dieting, for example.
Okay.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think that food makes very much sense to me in my neurodivergent brain.
This is where mechanistic eating actually helps people who are neurodivergent, and the research supports that because it doesn't have to make sense to you.
Okay.
In other words, it's like you eat on these schedules and you eat these foods and you eat this much, hence the concept, right, of mechanistic.
Hard pass. I don't like that.
I understand that you don't like it, but you'll have to decide which you don't like more. Carrying the weight or the mechanistic eating, because it actually could be helpful. There are other ways.
It's always going to be hard.
You tried them.
I tried a whole lot. There's a lot of other things to be concerned about. I'm also a social worker. I work with youth. There are a lot of...
Let's go back to you
Yes.
Tell me.
I'm saying for me, right? There
She's
are
talking
many
about
things that
herself.
I'm more concerned about
Okay.
than my weight. My body is not the most interesting thing
You just
about
brought
me.
up your weight and said, I don't see a way out of this.
Right.
I
True,
tried
yeah.
everything.
I mean, if you're like pouring yourself into your work and things and pouring yourself into your life, making a family, like there are other factors that you are pouring energy in that can distract from like your weight loss journey. If you're trying to lose weight and you're going to feel like shit, that's going to not allow you to do those other things as well in the short term. So it is a very difficult trade-off.
Take care of it in the ways that I can, and I've found works for me.
But you just told me it didn't work for you.
But it works to an extent.
You just told me it didn't work for you.
It works to an extent.
I'm overweight as fuck, bruh. It's hard to lose weight for sure, but doable. It's based on the person and their dedication and determination to lose weight. Yeah, it is a like an active choice you have to make, and you will have to make sacrifice to do it for sure. I think like the hump is the hardest part, but once you get into like you get into a routine that works for you, and you are constantly making decisions towards losing weight, then it becomes easier. But I think it's just that like first hump and that first major decision to like start that process, I think is the hardest part.
This is an irrelevant conversation if you're happy with it.
I stand on 10 toes down, that we are not pretending that
But
this
there's
is
healthy
okay.
at any size. There are absolutely elements and aspects of the movement that do put that messaging into the universe. I've had those debates.
You've said
I've had numerous
I want
debates with
to-
people who are body positivity activists that try to tell me that they can be healthy at any size. And it's just
can't be healthy at
not
any
the
size.
case.
and I disagree with that.
No,
can use
that's
this
that's where I see like the delusion comes in, because you can't be like super healthy at any size. Obviously, size is going to really affect you at a certain point. I mean, that's just a fact.
You've
have to
used shame as a
pause.
vehicle.
And I'm sorry, we have to pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
She did better than the last one, that's for sure.
What I'm curious about is if you care about people's health and you have people in front of you, and I'm sure you have people online who are telling you that the body positivity movement, or I prefer body liberation, body justice, body acceptance, body blah, all the good shit that we like,
Okay.
actually increases their health, then I don't understand your debate. Like, what are you debating if the fat people are telling you it makes their life better?
I'm debating their physical health, and I'm debating the people
Yeah.
who claim that you can be physically healthy at any size.
Okay. Do you think you can be physically healthy and mentally unhealthy at the same time?
Of course.
For
but
sure,
that's
yeah.
not the claim.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can definitely have people who are like overly obsessive about their diet and working out, but their mental health is trash, and that's unhealthy too. But the reverse here, where like you're being mentally healthy and physically unhealthy. Some overweight people are some of the happiest people on earth, but it still doesn't mean that like it's going to make them overcome the disadvantages of being overweight.
I think the part where I get stuck, I am a mental health professional. I work with people from a body liberation standpoint. I work with people in all shapes of bodies. What I know to be true from my experience is that body positivity, body liberation helps people take care of themselves. It's very difficult to understand why you think somebody is going to take better care of a body they hate. Like why body positivity would not inspire people to take better care of their bodies.
My argument. I never said you should hate your body. In fact,
No, you
should.
didn't.
Okay, so I don't think that. What I think is that there are people in the movement
Yeah.
who have co-opted healthy at any size, and it went from access to health care
Okay.
to quite literally meaning for them that you can be healthy at any size, and that's not true.
Okay. I mean, the studies show that if you're very, 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 very thin, or your body is very, 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 very big, it is more difficult to be healthy. That is absolutely
But
true.
then you agree with me on this point.
I don't, because I don't think body positivity is the dangerous thing. I think hatred of fat bodies and people hating themselves and people living in self-loathing because they've been taught that their body is the wrong shape, that's the danger.
Both can be true at once. So let's look at this, right?
I think they're getting ahead of themselves, because the claim is obesity is not healthy, and pretending it is put lives at risk. Obviously, obesity isn't healthy, but maybe they're understanding that there's something a little bit more to that question. And like, I do think like Jillian is, I think she is alluding to the fact that you shouldn't be body positive at every size. But I mean, I think just they need to switch to a different question and dig a little deeper into like what both sides kind of think.
The first thing we would want to do, obviously, is incentivize somebody. So it's like, okay, what's the why that's going to allow you to tolerate the how? But hold on. That's the positive. That's the inspiration piece. Okay. Now, here's the issue. If that piece, if all the things that they get out of it don't serve them as much as the things they're getting out of being overweight, and it does provide quite a lot. I can give you an example.
Wait.
Then they're not going unconsciously, they will sabotage the change. Can I give you an example so you'll understand it? Okay, there was a kid that I worked with.
Okay.
On Biggest Loser. He's 18 years old.
Oh, God.
He shows up with his dad, Ken. They both lose like 100 pounds. They go home, and they're visiting their family. It's the holidays. Doors fly open, and there's mom. And mom starts crying. And she's not crying tears of joy. She feels like they're going to abandon her, like they broke the contract, like they've outgrown her. And she becomes sad and she withdraws. So what does the 18-year-old do? He starts eating with mom again. What does the food provide him? A connection with his mom. I had something similar with my dad. It was one of the ways that we connected. Food provides a lot of people with a lot of different things.
Yes, you cannot eat and not have your parasympathetic nervous system turn on at the same time. There's no such thing as not emotional eating.
Yeah, I love food so much. I naturally do feel satisfied to a certain point, like after eating. But like if I didn't, and especially when I was younger, I could snack like forever. I'd eat a whole box of Cheez-Its and not even think anything of it. I had a fast metabolism. But if I didn't, like I could easily see myself like gaining more weight. As I've gotten older, I've had to make some decisions to, limit myself on snacking. And I can see how like for a person who doesn't really have that switch that says, okay, now I'm satisfied, this is enough, that like the food would just continue to bring you joy, and it's just more comfort. You just keep eating it. You feel like you need like much bigger portions to be satisfied. I could easily see how that could be the case.
It's fine. It's good. It's great. Food is great.
But what I'm trying to show you is that if in some cases the pain associated with continuing that defense mechanism is greater than the pain associated with change,
yeah, that's true.
it helps people change in some cases.
Not in the long term.
That's true.
And
It's
I
only
still
short-term
think-
satisfaction.
You've already been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
So earlier you were speaking about how there's randomized control trials that
There's
show...
MRT, Mendelian randomized control trials that have now shown us that obesity is causal to all-cause mortality.
Okay, so I disagree with that. I think there's going to be a problem with
dozens.
Good
fact check.
Why do you
here's why I
disagree with that?
Because
You can disagree.
No,
there
but let me let me hear me out.
dozens. Okay.
Okay, so the reason why is because registered dietitian, school for 6 years, studying nutrition, weights, all the stuff. And
Tell
we
me
can't
what
keep...
lipotoxicity is.
Why
it
is
doesn't
she
come with my curriculum
asking?
because it's bullshit. Because it's a TikTok thing
What is
that's
it?
like,
What
cortisol
is it?
face or whatever.
It's
but
not,
please, just
listen
back to
to
the
me.
studies.
It is not bullshit.
studies, back to the
It's
studies.
ectopic fat.
But can we just
It's
say,
when
because you
fat
keep sidestepping
ends
and then we
up-
can never
I'm not
get anywhere.
sidestepping. This is the claim.
Okay.
Okay, the claim is that obesity is unhealthy. Lipotoxicity
But the
is
reason-
not bullshit. But when fat is in the liver, when fat is in the heart, when fat gets deposited in the brain,
Yeah.
that is lipotoxicity, and it happens when the body has no place to put the excess energy anymore.
Okay.
It is irrefutable that is bad for your health.
Can we just go
Yeah.
back to the correlation doesn't equal causation? So you're saying there's causal studies,
No,
right?
but like you can't just say correlation doesn't mean causation. The science is pretty cut and dry. Like you see increased mortality with obesity across the board. And that's not just some random correlation. That is like causing your chances of mortality to be higher across the board. It doesn't just happen to be that way for some other factor. It is the obesity that's doing that.
The reason why we cannot show that the fat in and of itself leads to the negative health outcomes is because we cannot keep a human in a lab and control every factor, but have the only thing that's different.
Yeah, for most studies, there is like this margin where like there could be other factors influencing this. But when there's so much overwhelming evidence, that margin becomes very small. The chances of that margin being the causal factor becomes so small.
Randomized control
But can you just
trials.
listen? So a person...
That inherently eliminates any conflating factors because they're based on genetic predispositions coupled with
But
lifestyle.
can I just share, a person in a larger body has experienced things that we can't undo from the fat. So for example, they might have negative health outcomes because every time they go to a doctor, instead of being given an evidence-based treatment, like I have unearned thin privilege, I go to a doctor, I say, my stomach hurts, I get a full workup.
You're basically saying the earth is flat. Are you trying to tell me that having fat in your liver,
I just want to talk about
Pretty
fat
much,
in
yeah.
your heart, having fat deposited in your brain is healthy?
No, I just want to talk
Okay,
about.
so no, you're not trying to say that it's healthy.
No, I'm not trying to tell you that is what I said. I was never talking about the health of it.
Okay.
I'm trying to say everything you're saying is hinging on this idea, and it's a problem that we disagree on it, that it's the weight in and of itself that leads to the negative health outcomes. You're saying this MRT totally is...
Fat is an endocrine organ.
I know, but can you...
It destroys your hormone balance. It creates insulin sensitivity.
What about
when
the fact...
the body has too much fat, it releases insane amounts of different...
I just wonder, have you heard of social determinants of health? Social determinants of health, a group of factors that impact someone's health outcomes. That are things like your healthcare access and quality, neighborhood and built environment, things like your stress levels, socioeconomic status. So here's the thing.
Yeah, I do think like some of what she's about to say is true. Like there are other social factors that I'm sure do influence and shorten obese people's lives. And some of those are like medical professionals. It's harder to operate on an obese person to like find everything, like to like cut through the fat and see what you're working with. That's a factor too. And then socially, I'm sure that obese people have a tougher time in environments mostly across the board, just because of how other people view them. But I do think the main cause of a shorter life expectancy in obese people is the actual fat itself.
A person who's fat or lives in a larger body, we can't take away that person has probably experienced higher stress levels their whole life from experiencing marginalization every corner, from shows like The Biggest Loser to the doctor's office. We can't take away that.
That's her show. That's her show right there. And that's true though. Her show did kind of like
told to go lose weight.
When fat gets deposited in
but
the brain,
you're not answering what I'm saying.
Make fat people look bad.
I'm confused. Are you suggesting these are the reasons people become overweight?
No, I'm suggesting that a person could be in a larger body and be perfectly healthy based on their labs, their cholesterol.
7% of people who are classified overweight or obese, call it whatever you guys feel comfortable with, only 7% are classified as healthy.
Say that was true. Say we knew for certain.
I can go grab the data for you right now if you want.
Say we knew
She's
for
got it in
certain
her
that
car.
it was unhealthy. That what you're saying is true.
Here's the classification.
But even then, we'd be in this place where, okay, so what do we do? Are we going to send someone down a path of trying to lose weight and then gaining and trying and gaining? And we know that weight cycling in and of itself, bad for the heart, bad for insulin, bad for the brain, bad for all the things.
We work with that individual.
That's what I do in my private practice.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah. And I don't encourage weight loss because it's unethical.
She doesn't encourage weight loss because it's unethical. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's like to be in that situation, but I think you should always encourage weight loss to some degree. You should promote healthier life choices. And, I don't think that every approach to convincing a person to lose weight is the right one. But like if you're a healthcare professional, you should continue to give them options and definitely not diminish their life experience and undermine how difficult it is to do that. But you should be like constantly caring about their health and giving them options for weight loss, because one diet might not work for them, but maybe a different one will. And maybe it's just eating a little bit less. Like they don't have to lose a bunch of weight, and they don't have to lose any weight if they don't want to, but that should always be an option for people, and they should understand like the benefits of that. But I don't think it's unethical to encourage weight loss, assuming you're not trying to put people down. That's as much as I'm going to watch for that video. It's a pretty long video. I think there was a lot of like back and forth. I don't think there was any like middle ground that they really had there, which is surprising. I thought there was going to be a little bit more, but I think the question was very simple in how it was stated. And I think that's kind of why that was the way it was. So I will see you guys on the next video.